A very good morning to you all, my dear students. Today we are going to see about a poem named Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel O'Carra. Once Upon a Time, written by Gabriel O'Carra. About the author, Gabriel O'Carra is an African poet born in the year 1921 in Nigeria, and he was educated at a government college in Umuahia. His parents were not rich. He was a largely self-educated man. He became a bookbinder after leaving school and soon began writing plays and features for radio. In the year 1953, his poem, The Call of the River Nun, won an award at the Nigerian Festival of Arts. Some of his poems were published in the influential periodical Black Orpheus, and by 1960 he was recognized as an accomplished literary craftsman. Some of his works were The Fisherman's Invocation, A Little Snake and Little Frog. He has also written a novel called Voice. O'Carra's poetry is based on a series of contrasts in which symbols are neatly balanced against each other. Especially, he goes to two extremes of experience. Life and death are common themes that are used in his poems. His poem has a circular movement from everyday reality to a moment of joy and back to reality again. Now, going into the poem in detail, Once Upon a Time by Gabriel O'Carra. When you read the title of the poem, Once Upon a Time, you might wonder that it is going to be a story. Isn't it? Usually, when someone narrates a story, they start with a note, once upon a time. Isn't it? So here also, the poet gives a tinge. He starts his poem with a note, once upon a time. He wants to tell how people were in the past and how they are in the present. The mood of the poem is nostalgic. The personality is remembering how things used to be when he was young and innocent. The poem highlights the guilt and resentment an African man feels for himself to accept the culture of the Westerners. He notices a marked change in the attitude of his people. Those who were once so genuine, warm and sincere, how have suddenly turned cold and hostile towards him. The poet's use of a childlike lexical feel contradicts the poem's morals about growing up. Once upon a time leads us to believe it to be a story, and the poet presents it in a narrative way. But once we realize he's talking to his son, it suggests the fairy tale is on his behalf. The poem is structured like a reflection, as the first three stanzas talks about innocence, whereas the next three stanzas portrays experience. Now let's move into the poem. The first stanza. Once upon a time, son, they used to laugh with their hearts and laugh with their eyes. But now they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes block cold eyes, search behind my shadow. Here, the poet says, they once used to laugh with their hearts and their eyes were much pleasing. But now they only laugh with their teeth, while their eyes blocked cold eyes search behind my shadows. It illustrates the change in the way the people act, showing that their laugh used to be genuine and heartfelt. So, how was their laugh? It was very genuine and heartfelt. But, however, now their attitudes have changed. The description of laugh with their teeth. Here it says laugh with their teeth. Now they are only laughing with their teeth, which shows false interest or a fake smile carried by the people. The dark imagery which is shown here is the eyes block cold eyes, shows that there is no feel or warmth or no emotions exhibited in the way they laugh now. So earlier, the way they laughed carried so much of pleasure. It was completely genuine and it was a heartfelt smile. But now he says that smile is completely changed and now people carry only a fake smile in their face. The second stanza. There was a time indeed they used to shake hands with their hearts, but that's gone, son. Now they shake hands without hearts, while their left hands search my empty pockets. So he says, there was once a time when people used to shake hands with their hearts, that is, their shaking of hands was so heartfelt. These lines illustrates that all good intentions that once people had within them are gone. The use of words. Look at the line. Used to. Can you say used to shake hands? So the use of words used to has gone, used in contrast to now, shows the gulf of time and difference between the past and the present life. So once they used to shake hands with their hearts, but that has completely changed. Now everybody is only focusing on their personal gain. The use of the metaphor shake hands, without hearts creates an image of gesture that is carried out without care, highlights the pretended warmth, a lack of trust, as everybody is trying to use the other. So their smile is not genuine, it's not a heartfelt smile. Now even the handshake what they used to have in the olden times have completely become different. Now they are not shaking their hands with so much of good intentions. Only for a personal gain what they are doing. They are shaking their hands to gain something from the other person. The phrase empty pocket here says that he is stripped of all his genuine happiness and he has been left feeling empty and alone. Moving on to the third stanza. Feel at home, come again, they say, and when I come again and feel at home once, twice, there will be no thrice, for then I find doors shut on me. In this stanza, the poet shows the change in him as a man. The semblance of cordiality disappears if one visits for the third time to meet the people who once used kind words. See, in the olden times, whenever you visit your neighbors or your relatives' house, they say, you're most welcome, you can always come and visit us. But those kind words have just gone. In fact, they just shut the door on our face. Only once or twice you can visit someone's house. When you go more than that, what happens? You can only find shut doors. Here there's an evident shift in the stanza because he's talking about himself and how he has learned to be fake. This shows how the society has pressured him into changing in a negative means. The next stanza, fourth one. So I have learned many things, son. I have learned to wear many faces like dresses, home face, office face, street face, host face, cocktail face, with all their conforming smiles like a fixed portrait smile. Here he says, I have learned to wear many faces, which shows that he had adapted using different faces for different occasions. He even says that expressions and emotions seem like they are disposable, which shows how this society is obsessed with appearance and not really reflecting inner feelings. The poet here talks about how the negative changes in society has influenced him, and people have mastered the art of changing their expressions according to the situations merely to ensure social acceptance. He regrets being hypocritical but finds himself being helpless. The next stanza, and I have learned to laugh with only my teeth and shake hands without my heart. I have also learned to say goodbye when I mean good riddance. To say glad to meet you without being glad, and to say it's been nice talking to you after being bored. Here, the poet says he has adapted to the environment around him and he has been forced to be like others. As he says, I have learned to, he says, to laugh with only my teeth. Here he suggests that he has also learned to laugh without happiness and to laugh for the sake of laughing. He also says, I have learned to say goodbye when I meant good riddance and meant glad to meet you without being glad. So even when we meet someone and when you go on talking with them and when you really feel bored at the end of the conversation when you're about to leave, though you feel bored, though you don't show much interest in the manner or the way they talk, finally what you say, it's nice talking to you, isn't it? That's how we say. So here also the poet means the same. Though he has learned to say goodbye, he doesn't mean it in a good way. Though he isn't glad in meeting, or if he feels bored over talking to others, yet he is forced to carry a fake smile and tells them it's nice meeting you. He says, emotions are not seen in words. It's not exactly what they express from heart, but only from the tongue through words. So people around us, they only carry fake smile. They're not genuine. They're all wearing different masks while they meet people around. They try to be good. Only by their appearance we are always carried away. But actually that's not the truth. But believe me, son, I want to be what I used to be when I was like you. I want to unlearn all these muting things. Most of all, I want to relearn how to laugh, for my laugh in the mirror shows only my teeth like a snake's bare fangs. So show me, son, how to laugh. Show me how I used to laugh and smile once upon a time when I was like you. The last stanza, the poet says how he used to feel. It seems that he is talking to his son who has not yet experienced the change of heart, who has not yet been influenced by this society. He says, believe me, son. Here this line emphasizes the regret of the poet He says, I want to be what I used to be. Here, these lines express the desperation to go back to the olden times, to be innocent in ways where he felt life was easy and his emotions were honest and it wasn't fake. He wants to unlearn all these bad habits, what he has picked up over the years of his growth. So he pleads to his son, saying, show me, son, how I used to laugh and smile. And he wants his son to teach him all the good habits that he has lost. And he says, teach me how to have true, honest emotion. So he wants to go back to his olden time of how life was so good. People weren't fake. They were so genuine. So here this poem, Once Upon a Time, highlights the guilt and resentment an African man feels for himself to accept the culture of the Westerners. He notices a marked change in the attitude of his people. Those who were once so genuine, warm, and sincere have now suddenly turned cold and hostile towards him. He realizes that the early values which always existed in the society, like sincerity, good-naturedness, simplicity, wholeheartedness, hospitality, friendliness, originality, identity, uniqueness, and overall satisfaction have now faced a drastic and a dramatic change. So he finds himself behaving in the same way as those around him. He feels a great sense of guilt and a self-loathing and thinks about how fake he has also become in losing his identity and the fixed expression for different occasions, an unnatural smile plastered across his face while he meets people around. He confesses to his son that he does not like the person he has become and wants to change. He wants to go back to the way he was before in his childhood. He asks his son to help him go back to who he was and get back his lost identity. He expresses a desire to unlearn whatever he has forced himself to learn in order for him to gain his sense of self back. He asks his son to help him be happy once again and acquire the childlike innocence he once possessed as a child. I hope you understood the poem, children. Thank you.